everybody. We're going to start the January 2018 Board of Health meeting. We have a quorum, so we will get started here just a few minutes late. So we will adjourn the meeting, and I will not adjourn. We will start the meeting. Sorry, I'm getting ready to adjourn already. All right, start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody would please rise. Thanks. So from the point of view of rules in the township, we do need to start the meeting in January with the new business of an election. We don't start with other things until we have an election done. So we are a quorum today, so we can have an election even though we're missing some members. So we'll start with the two positions that are available on the Board of Health, which are the Vice Chair and the Chair of the Board of Health. So I will begin the meeting today by calling for nominations for the Vice Chair. I did speak to the current Vice Chair via email today, who is still interested in the position as Chairwoman, and that would be Linda. Are there any nominations for Vice Chair for the Board of Health for 2018? Nancy?
I nominate Linda.
We will go through the process. Okay.
Second.
And there's a second. Okay. Any other nominations for Vice Chair? Seeing no more nominations with the five of us here, we will bring Linda's name up for vote, and all in favor of Linda remaining as Vice Chair of the Board of Health for 2018, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I would agree, and that would make it unanimous. Any nays? No. So Linda, Shane, congratulations for being the Vice Chairman of the Board of Health for another year. Thank you. And the next order of business is to nominate the Chairman of the Board of Health, and nominations for the Chairman of the Board of Health for 2018. Seeing there's none. It's up to you guys.
I nominate Dr. Foreman.
Okay. Any other nominations for chairman? I'll accept the nomination, and we will, again, vote for the... Linda would normally do this, but I will call for an election for myself. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Any nays? Except for me. Okay. So I will declare myself the chairman for the 2018 season again. And it is official through our bylaws that we have a chairman and a co-chairman for the board for 2018, so we can move on to regular business for the season. Okay. We did get last month's meeting minutes, if anybody had a chance to review them. The only change that I had was it says two students from Radnor Night School. They're actually the Radnor High School. That looks like a type, just what's it called, a spell check. Autocorrect thing there. So we'll just change that to high school. I didn't see any other big issues or concerns. Anyone else have any concerns or issues with the minutes? Okay. This was December one. Maybe you got a different one. Just an email. Okay. So take your time and review it, and we'll certainly move on there.
That was the December 18th.
Yeah, December 18th meeting. So while we're waiting on everybody kind of looking through those as well, we'll just go to the report from our folks here. Thanks.
Okay, so since December 1st, we had 10 food safety inspections completed. Over the last month, we completed the renewal for all of our township food licenses. We have one or two left to complete, but the rest were done. We assisted more than 10 food prep workers, all who are working in a licensed Radnor food facility, in gaining or renewing their food protection manager certification, which is required by the food code. We also did 10 bathing place inspections. There were 8 public health complaints that came into the department. Some of which included there was a piece of a latex glove that went with a pizza that went out from Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza. So basically in that situation, we took a detailed account from the complainant. We inspected the facility. We spoke with the manager. They were able to identify the batch of sauce that could have been contaminated, so they discarded it. Basically, they time and date each batch so we can easily identify it. We also instructed the manager to schedule a training to re-educate the staff on proper use of gloves and when to change and discard food prep gloves. We'll also do an unannounced visit for follow-up to make sure that protocol is being followed. Jersey Mike's was vandalized. I don't know if you heard, on New Year's Eve. They did some significant damage, caused them to close for 2 days. We did require them to get the facility professionally cleaned, and then they were reopened for normal business on January 2nd. We had a few meetings, workplace safety meeting. There were minor work-related injuries. Those workers are back to work. We had a local Board of Health meeting on December 1st held at Marple Township. There we had a presentation on the spotted lanternfly. Just a little history. It originates in Asia. It's an invasive pest like sweet plants. It prefers the tree of heaven, but will make use of many different plant species. Egg masses are laid on any kind of smooth surface, and those masses can have 30 to 50 eggs. Right now, they're saying tree banding and scraping of egg masses seem to be the most effective way to minimize them. And I did also, lastly, put a few pamphlets up there that we received about the spotted lanternfly. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. All right, any additions to the meeting minutes there? Joe? Looking pretty good? Okay. So we will bring those up for approval. So anybody want to, any other comments on the meeting minutes from last month? Okay, so we'll bring the meeting minutes up to be approved. Or is there a motion for approval for the minutes?
So moved, approved
moved.
as corrected.
Moved it, okay. And a second? Anybody a second?
I second it.
Thank you. All right, and we will just put that to a vote. All in favor of the minutes being approved, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No? No? Okay. So they will be approved, and they can be put on the website. Okay. So mostly just an administrative meeting today for the election. There are a few minor things to kind of catch up on from last week, and some announcements and some other things, some other brief issues. We are, again, trying to participate with Teen Health Week, which is in March. And we had a discussion earlier before the meeting that we are going to be trying to set up a social media account either through the township or through one of our personal email addresses to have the students help us posting pertinent articles and pertinent information during the Teen Health Week for everyone in the high school and anybody else who wants to read these interesting things. So we're going to work on a little bit of that after the meeting today. And then I didn't know if there was any discussion yet with the students about some of their maybe a longer-term project for the year?
We are meeting after the meeting, and we'll be talking about that as well as our social media posts.
Thank you, Nancy. And I do have some interesting little ideas if there is interest for the students in some certain subjects. I did get an email this month from our guest speaker last month, Dr. Offit, who introduced me to a meeting she had with a woman named Ambi Grant with the Domestic Abuse Project of Delaware County. And it really is an interesting topic, I think, for a high school student to hear about, where they have youth programs that the Domestic Abuse Project offers for students middle school through college about healthy relationships. And there's, I'm sure, a lot to this topic that's of interest to teens and also to us as adults about how to have healthy relationships. And you know, we know that it's in this email, it talks about 1 in 3 adolescents in the U.S. is a victim of physical, sexual, or emotional or verbal abuse from a dating partner. And it's a very large figure. It exceeds other type of youth violence greatly. So it's an important topic. And they do offer some short courses and some long courses for teenagers to learn about this and educate their peers about the importance of you know, how to navigate relationships in a healthy way. So I can provide that information, contact information for Ms. Grant for the students if they need that. Another interesting topic for students is frequently, you know, diet, and a couple of our students in the past have used calorie counts and physical activity posters and things to help us out in understanding weight gain, weight loss, and physical activity, the importance of physical activity. And there is a interesting meeting coming up in February with the American Academy of Pediatrics, I'm sorry, the Pennsylvania chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics is presenting promoting physical activity for patients who are overweight and obese, and it's presented by a former president of the American Academy of Pediatrics. Her name is Dr. Sandra Hasnick, and I can get you guys information about that, and we should be able to post this on the website as well. So that is one thing. And then, of course, another interesting topic for students they might be interested in would be vaping. There has been lots of talk about vaping recently. I believe the school has made an effort to eliminate vaping from campus or reduce vaping on campus. And obviously, if you go to any school events, football games, et cetera, you do see these clouds of vape in the air, and it's around and the students are using, and it's really an unknown product. And again, it's hard to know what the danger is from vaping, considering none of it's regulated by any government body. None of the products that are used in vaping are regulated by really anyone, and they can have just about anything in them. So an interesting topic, and I believe Miss Linda Shane said she would possibly want to do a brief presentation on that in February, so we might hear a little bit more about that next month, but another interesting topic possibly for students as well. Okay. So that was the big old business, and new business was elections, so not too much else. I did get some letters from people in the township. I got a letter from a township resident who is interested in the board looking into residential leaf blowers, gas-powered lawnmowers for noise and air pollution issues. Interesting topic to talk about. I don't know a whole lot about it. There is a link they sent me to the Washington Post about about how bad they are for the environment, which I did take a look at briefly. So anybody has any interest in that or interest in having a further discussion about this as we move into the spring, certainly an interesting topic. I don't know a whole lot about electric leaf blowers or electric lawn mowers, and if there's actually a market for those type of machines, but certainly sounds like something that we could look into a little bit further. Let me see if I got anything else. There's still a lot of letters I get monthly about the school time and getting the school time later for the high school students. There is committees that are currently working in the township to work to maybe move toward that in our township at some point. I haven't heard any further updates. I'm not sure if Mr. Kane's heard anything at all.
I believe they had a meeting just last week, so they're meeting regularly, and I believe there was an article that was on WHYY recently regarding what some other districts are doing in Pennsylvania. So they're reviewing all of that.
As we know, it's going to take a long time, but it may one day benefits our students to come to school a little bit later. I'm sure our students would like that a lot, right? Good stuff. All right, let's see. Anything else here? That's good. Yep. So that was the big emails from the community for the month. So a couple of topics that we'll think about in this upcoming year to talk about and discuss: vaping, electric, non-gas lawn mowers and blowers. A couple of announcements. If anybody has any to add after mine, you're welcome to. Let's see here. I forgot, the chicken ordinance was moved to the Planning Commission, according to Commissioner Nagel. So maybe in tonight's meeting, there might be a furthering of that recommendation we gave to the board. So hopefully that'll be moving forward. And we'll hear some clucking in the community soon. All right. Announcements for the month, just a couple of interesting pieces. There was a health alert in Pennsylvania for raw milk that may contain brucellosis. I'm not sure anyone would really want to have raw milk and not pasteurized, but again, it's highly suspect and could be dangerous, so I wouldn't be a fan of drinking raw milk. Flu testing is there's rapid flu testing that's relatively accurate in the 90% range, and if people have symptoms of flu, they should be seen by their medical provider or one of the urgent care centers in the area and tested for the flu, because the only treatment that we have once you're diagnosed with the flu is a medication called Tamiflu, which needs to be used within the first couple of days of infection for it to be effective. Although it's only mildly effective to reduce the time frame of how long you have the flu, it can be a life-saving medication in people who are high risk for the flu. So again, reminding people that if you have flu-like symptoms, which include high fevers, body aches and pains, a rapid onset of a cold and a cough that's very severe, you should be tested by your provider. January is Cervical Health Awareness Month, and again, that brings up always a recommendation and I guess an approval from my point of view for the HPV vaccine for women and men from 11 years old to 23 years of age who it's approved for. It does prevent cervical cancer, and it is one of the only vaccines, one of two vaccines that really does prevent cancer, including the hepatitis B vaccine. January is also Blood Donation Month, Blood Donor Month, and always a good idea to look for the blood drives when they occur. There's always a need for blood. All right. Any other announcements from the board? Any other issues? No? Okay. All right. Seeing that there's no other announcements and I don't see any public participation, I thank everyone for coming tonight, and we will adjourn the board's meeting until Tuesday, February 20th, I believe, at 5:30 p.m. in this room, and that would be the day after President's Day. So thank you for participating, everyone.